for the overall mission. But why did you get involved with the Movement Montreal?
Um, they're basically the party that represents me as a Montrealer, my experience as a Montrealer. They're a party that stands for what is right. You know what I mean? They're not trying to get caught up in the scandals of the past. They're trying to forge a new way forward. They're trying to put forth, the people's issues that matter to them the most. So we're talking about gentrification. We're talking about police brutality. We're talking about bilingualism in the city. We're talking about a lot of issues that are key to the people that are closest to me. And so I found myself in this party. And it's through connecting with people, and presenting myself and taking a chance and speaking up that I got the opportunity to run in Snowdon. I basically said I'd like to run in Snowdon, and then I presented my case why. And the party has its selection process, and after a few interviews, eventually, they said, you know what, I think you're our guy, and then they made it official, and then here we are a few months later, or a month or two later.
So now you're a political candidate going against people, as you've just said to me, that are probably more well known. That's what I deduced from what you said, that you're like an underdog in the Snowden fight. And I've
Yeah.
seen underdogs walk around Snowden and hang up signs before because I'm at Snowden. I think the metro. Like I'm happen to. It's my metro, right? So like, I happen to have watched this process play out. So I get like curious about a bunch of stuff. As a voting dude, why do I vote for a Mauro? And I don't mean it like in like the sense of what can you do. I'm starting to realize that like at the city councilor level, there's only what you can do. But like, so you're there, and y'all are basically, as I understand this, working to advocate for stuff and oversee things and all of these good things, which you have a bunch of experience in, and you understand legislations and whatever, etc. So with that, let me get into how does somebody like you actually make a stamp in an election? And I don't mean that in a rude way. I mean that in like if people are gonna vote for you, they need to know that your campaign gonna bring some heat, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, so how does one like me, like myself, as a rookie, what do I bring to the table? Well, I think it goes down to who am I as an individual. You know what I mean? Christian was a Christian Arsenault was on your show, and he was a quote unquote rookie when he was elected, and he's done some wonderful things for Loyola, and uh, I think that that him and others are great examples of what you can accomplish if you just try. So what do I bring? That's very easy. My entire professional career and life has been about you know being a people person, being a person that bridges gaps, being a person that, you know, I'm the finder and the doer. I'm the one that stands up, speaks up, and says, asks all the questions. So, in a sense, what you get from me is you get the person that's not gonna rubber stamp anything that comes sent his way. That's gonna ask questions when questions need to be asked. That's gonna read documentation that gets sent to him an hour before a meeting or half an hour before a meeting. I'm going to be the guy that picks up the phone when you call him, that's going to make himself available to your concerns. I'm going to be the guy that's going to use part of his discretionary fund to help out in the community in ways that I can, it depends on the situation, but, there's things that you could do.
What's your
Uh,
discretionary fund?
well, basically, there's a salary for a city councilor, and then there's like an expense that's attached to it, like like a spending fund, basically, and it's public knowledge. The last publicly available information was that the city councilor makes about 54,000, and they had like 16,000 in discretionary spending. And so for discretionary spending, you don't need to. You can spend it as you like because it's discretionary. But I could use it to help out people in the borough when they call me for certain things. You know what I mean? It's really discretionary. So it depends. If someone calls me and they tell me I can't find food at the food bank. Where do I go? What do I do? What are my resources that are locally available? Well, I could do something like say, you know what? Let's figure this out. Let's go to the store. I'll give you like a groceries worth of shopping for the week, and we'll work together to find you, emergency food um, solutions. You know what I mean? We'll put you on a food bank waiting list. We'll visit the the NDG pantry or the Sunshine Pantry together. You know, there's different ways you can use that money that would impact people positively. And all this to say is that, you know, you get with me someone that is definitely learning, has great intentions, stands up for people, is not afraid to ask questions, is not afraid to be shut down, because, you know, I'm not there to just disagree with people because I don't like them. I'm there to produce and bring forth results, because the district has been suffering for long enough. There's no way that you can look at, you know, the district and say it's been like this for 40 years, 40, and every district around it has prospered. Why has this one not? You know? And I'm the guy that knows this because I've been around long enough to know that it hasn't changed and it needs to change. So you get that in me. You get that hunger. You know, you get that will. You're not going to get someone that's complacent. You're not going to get someone that's beholden to his previous bosses. You're not going to get someone that's going to be told, you know, what to do. You're going to be told, I'm only going to be told what to do by the people that I work with. And the people that I work with are the people, you know, the ones that are going to elect me.
That's fair. So you've been like walking around and doing stuff lately, and I say that because I mean I'm trying to like watch you guys do your politics stuff, and looks like a lot of walking around. And then I was watching your Crack Street picture, and I'm like, say a word, let me contribute. And if I happen to be outside and pulled up my phone because you're fielding trash right now, it's trash. And then we were like, West Side of NDG gets no love, and I'm like, it does get no love. That's true. There's not a lot of love given here. And so like with all of that, I mean, without sounding completely pessimistic to the situation, it's one thing to take pictures, but like what do we do with that? Like how do you like action that in terms of like bringing it to a place where you can do something with it?
Well, you know, you got to secure the funds to change, you know, to change things. You know what I mean? You got to pressure, you got to come together with Borough Council and find solutions together to improve it, right? I mean, we are the largest borough. We have the largest budget. There's no reason why why our roads should look the way they look. You know what I mean? And part of that gets done by working with the elected and unelected officials. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is that there's people in power that don't get elected. And whether you like these people or not, you have to learn to work with these people in order to get what's best and what's to maximize the return for the people that you represent. And that's what I'm trying to do, you know, if elected. I'm trying to see what the actual budget is being spent on, not the Cole's note version of the budget. I want an actual copy of the budget so I can look through the financial statements of the borough to understand and maximize the local dollars. And what I mean by that is I want to bring the spending, as much of the spending that gets done outside of the borough, inside the borough. And so when it comes to roads, let's look at who can do the roads locally. Let's look at what the solutions are in order to not just patch up, but in order to get to the source of the problem. Why are the roads on Queen Mary and Isabella, for example, why do they look like they were bombed recently and they're right next to like, you know, close to $1 million duplexes? It's not, you know, why is Queen Mary in the situation that it's in? It shouldn't be, you know?
Yeah, they are literally selling like $500,000 homes on like Rosedale, and I cycle down Rosedale like often, and it is not a good street. I was thinking about that too. It's like imagine that like you buy this $1 million house and the street's like wrecked. I mean, you would probably know that before copping the house, but still, like you know, it's just the concept of it. It's like, I mean, I live here, so I'm like feeling it, but I don't really think about it. And I think it is an interesting point that you're like, I want to go look at the budget and do what I do for a living. Like that's a pretty good answer. What can I do? And then I suppose the rest of it is just politics and negotiation at that point.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely going to be a lot of, you know, like, okay, well, who's in charge of this? Who makes the final call? And then, you know, it's about building bridges at the end of the day. Like, you know what I mean? It's, you know, those in power will tell you, you know, if you do X for me, I'll do Y for you. And by that, I mean, you know, if you side with me with this motion, I'll side with you on this motion. And you know what? That's how you get things done. You compromise. You know what I mean? And that's where your ego or your lack thereof comes into play. You know, it becomes a powerful tool for you.
Yeah, it does. I guess the only fear then with that is how do you avoid rubber stamping things you don't want to do if it comes down to compromising? Or I guess that's literally just part of what has to happen.
To a certain extent, yes, but you have your values also, you know what I mean? And you have your constituents you're beholden to. So, there's lines you won't cross if you have any values.
Right.
Like I would not go out of my way and, destroy a political opponent's, I would not go out of my way and destroy a political opponent's pamphlets or promotional material just because I don't like them.
Wait,
That's not the kind of thing.
Did that happen?
That way. It might have been done by someone or not. You can just Google it. You know what I mean? But that's not the kind of values I have. Because at the end of the day, I'm here for myself, the people that I represent, which is people that look like you, like me, like myself, like my family, my friends. It's a little bit of everything. And that's just not in my values.